All right, welcome everyone to the Microsoft PMO365 webinar for managing projects using Microsoft Teams, specifically in the state government. New South Wales state government is one of those state governments that not only just endorsed and supporting kind of working remotely from home and other places, but at the same time have endorsed and have an enterprise agreement with Microsoft, utilizing application and tools like the Microsoft Teams application. So really today is all about understanding how Teams can be used to manage projects, specifically in terms of managing timelines, tasks and assignments, but also going further from that into managing artifacts and documents, risks and issues, to extending the collaboration or the team project management into external vendors and so on. And we'll talk about reporting as well and the integration capabilities of it. We were hoping to have someone from a government, New South Wales government department, namely Department of Primary Industries and Environment, but unfortunately that person couldn't make it today on some personal circumstances. So apologies for that. They were gonna we were open it as a panel between myself and that person to take questions and talk about how you go about, or if you have any challenges or any ideas that you would like to share with us. I will still do that as a panel, but it will be a panel of one, just myself, and I will be taking questions. So if you have any questions during the demo, I'll encourage you just to write it down somewhere or note it somewhere, and then as we open up for the panel discussion, we can take your questions and hopefully try to answer them all. Right, so the Microsoft Teams, as you probably already know, is a great collaboration tool that been obviously produced by Microsoft a while ago, but really had a huge momentum after the COVID-19 and the the encouragement of working from home and the ability to basically attend meetings and collaborate with different type of users or stakeholders within the organization around a number of things. Projects could be one of them, but not only just your standard chat and meeting capability, but obviously sharing documents and other information. So here's a sample of if you'd like, a project team. It's called Project Alpha. As you can see, I have a number of teams here. Some of them are projects, some of them related to sales, some of them management, marketing, technical, and so on. But as you can see here, there are a couple of projects here that are teams, here that are specifically configured or used for projects. And as you can see here, the project team itself will have capabilities like storing files, and obviously the files will be shared amongst all the project team members who will have access to the Microsoft Teams. I have a wiki here that we can share notes and so on. There is a planner, integration with planner, a kind of a task work management tool, which I will talk about today and demonstrate. Then we have notebooks using OneNote and so on. And then there's other things that I will walk you through, from task management to cost estimation. We might add risks and issues and so on. So how do we basically start with this? I'm probably going to do this, not probably, but I will do this in two ways, or we'll talk about it in two ways. First of all, the manual setup of a project team, and then the automatic setup of a project team. So the manual setup is basically someone has been assigned a project, a project manager or a team manager or anyone else, and would like to set a collaboration, start Microsoft Teams. And that works in any way or shape that you currently used to. So I know a number of New South Wales government agencies or departments, not a department as a whole, but parts of the entities within the department do not allow the creation of teams, and you have to go through a certain IT process. If that's obviously your case, you have to go through your the normal process, but a team can be then created. You will then be assigned an owner for that team, therefore will have the ability to do the things that I will able to do today. So whether you're setting up this team yourself or you are asking your IT support to create it for you, it will be something like this. There is no like a special type of a team. You just go and create a Microsoft Teams, and from there we will utilize that team to manage project. However, in the future you will see that we will have the ability to create, well, not in the future, actually I will show it to you now, the ability to create a team from another team, i.e. a template. So then you might have, an ability to auto-create the entire team, project team with all its tab without having to go through the manual process of adding tabs all the time. It comes with its own challenges, but there's definitely an ability here. So as you can see here, I can create a team from an existing team. So I can choose an existing team and basically copy it. Otherwise, I will just start from scratch. So if I go create team, and then I build team from scratch, then I will basically starting the team as sort of from scratch. The ability to copy a project team is quite useful. Again, so you won't have to set up all those tabs and all of those parts of the Microsoft Teams every time you're creating a team. Right, so, and then in terms of the options and in terms of privacy, I guess you can have a project team that is private, while people will be only added to it by invitation. It can be public, anyone from your organization can be can join in, or org-wide, which basically that everyone in your organization is added to the team. And this is just a team security templates if you'd like. I'll go with the private, so members of that project team will be added manually, not automatically. So let's call this project, I don't know, webinar. Let's call it web demo of 1606, and you can give it a description. And again, all of this is just a standard Microsoft team creation. There's nothing special about it being for project management. If I start then inviting people, I can either invite a group or invite an individual user. And by the way, a group is called Office Groups. So there's an Office 365 group. It can be managed by administrators or otherwise. But if you have an existing Office 365 group, you can call it. Otherwise, you will be creating individual or inviting individual users. By the way, Teams itself, when it's created, it will create an Office 365 group for you. So if you want to reuse that group somewhere in the future for other teams or in fact other Microsoft 365 applications, you can call that group. But currently I'm going to just go and invite a couple of users here. So go, Bill, go Maurizio, and I'll add them to my project team. And as you can see, the default would be just a member. But you can change that to the owner. So if you're going through your ICT process and them creating your project team for you, you need to ask them to put you as an owner after the team is created. So I'll close that, and obviously the team will be set up for us. It takes actually a couple of minutes for it to refresh everything and have the the areas set up, but these are the default areas. You have files area, and by the way, files area is nothing but a kind of a SharePoint document library, if you're familiar with it, and so on. So this is the default ones where you look. This is not a Teams demo. This is a kind of a specifically for project management. But that in here you can post, you can ask to meet your project team. You meet now. You click on this and you create a meet then and there. You can schedule meetings. You can do all of these things. You can obviously share files. So that will be, if it's a project team, it will be a project files you can upload here, and start and so on. And then you have your standard wiki, which can be used for basically sharing information. You can have sections, you have different pages, you can create a new pages. So you can utilize it in a number of ways. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the main things of this, I guess, category or type of usage using Teams for project management is using task management tools. And there's a couple of task management tools produced by Microsoft. The very popular one, when it integrates with Team, is Microsoft Planner. So what you could do then, you can add a tab here and search for the app. This is, by the way, when you add a tab to Microsoft Team, then these are the number of applications that you'll be able to call as what's so-called out-of-the-box connectors to Microsoft Teams. Some of them will be Microsoft applications, like the one on top, and some of them will be non-Microsoft applications. And as you can see, the list is very, very long. So there's a long list of applications that you can add into your team, Microsoft Teams, for different purposes. But I'm going to start with the very basic planner. And a planner, as I said, is a board task management tool. Obviously, the thing that you can do here is create a new planner board, or if you have an existing one for this project, you can actually call it. But in my case, I'm just setting up the planner board, so this is a new project. So I'll just probably use the same project name. It might be confusing because actually the tab name will be the name that you put into the planner. Usually what I do, I start with planner or project plan, for example, and then name the project name if you want. So a demo project 1606. So the problem that, as I said, the tab name will be all this thing. So if you just put the name of the project, that will be the name of your tab in Teams, which is not very useful. It just basically giving you a project team again, so you don't know what this tab is about or the other team members. So I'll click Save here, and this basically will create this tab into the Teams set of tabs. So instead of just posts, files, and wiki, I have a new tab here called Project Plan Demo Project 1606. And this is where you start creating tasks, assigning tasks, having a schedule that is shared amongst all team members, project team members, which is now made of myself and two other individuals, Bill and Maurizio. But obviously, as your project team grows, this is where they would collaborate around or share the information in terms of who's doing what are the deadlines, how are we tracking in terms of schedule, any overdue tasks, any tasks that have been completed, and so on. So it's as I said, it's a planner board, not your traditional Gantt chart type of project management tool. If you are interested in traditional Gantt chart tool, there is one for that as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So let's start with creating a task. Let's say that this is an IT type of project or business type of project where we need to develop a project plan. So I add this as a task. I can click on the task and have more details to it. For people who are familiar with Planner, you would know that there are something called, you brand it, you can put it to a bucket, you tag it, sorry, or you can give it a bucket name. That's the bucket. The default one is to do. You can create other type of buckets. I can show you that if you're interested. But also you can assign people, and that's important. So let's say to develop the plan, we'll ask Bill to do the business, the project plan. I would like Bill to start. We are hoping that Bill will start on Monday next week, and we'll give him a week to finish the plan. So he'll finish on the 26th. And in the notes, we say, please use the latest template, for example, but also we can have a checklist so for example, we say that make sure like this is what I want you to do in the project plan. Estimate the timelines, and then estimate the cost of the project. And then, I don't know, to set some benefits to be measured. And so on. Look, this is just a checklist of things that you would like the person who's assigned to this ticket to work on it. You can actually show the notes or the checklist on the card. I'll show the checklist on the card as an option. And I close it. So there you go. I have a task that has been created. It's been assigned to Bill, and it has a start and finish dates and so on. So I can start creating those different tickets. And I then can actually look at them by progress. So these are the tickets that I haven't, oh sorry, the cards that haven't started yet. These are the one in progress, and these are the one that are completed. So if I, let's create just a few other sample tasks. So we have a develop project plan, I don't know, design the solution, and I'll just assign it to, for example, 2 people, myself and Maurizio. I'll just leave it that for now. And then just another last task, I'll just go a test task for that. And let's say, let's go training. And in there, I will probably assign it to all of us, all of the 3 team members. And no start date, just add it here. So as tasks start being progressed, for example, if Bill has started working on his task, he just literally bring it into the in progress column here, so we can see that it's in progress. When it's completed, we'll push it in completed, and that's one way of viewing it. The other one, as I said, is by buckets. So the default one is to do. You can even rename the to do one. So if you don't want that, you can rename it. So instead of to do, let's say this is the project related activities. You can have the on-site related activities, stuff like this. You can have the, I don't know, the user training or training activities and so on. So your buckets could be whatever you want, and then you then put tasks in different buckets. So there's a number of ways to really look at those cards. You can see it by buckets, you can see them by progress, you can see them by due date. You can see them by priority, or the labels that we talked about, the pink and green and so on. And obviously these can be renamed, the pink and green, red and so on. So there's a number of ways to look at those work management, but not only that in terms of a view, but also that having that shared visibility among the project team members and who doing on what's the due date. If there's tasks that are delayed and so on, will be excellent, very useful. But also it comes with an emailing or notification capability if you're interested in that. So if I look quickly on these, for example, so I've obviously prepared a few of those as samples. These are the kind of emails that you get automatically if you enable it. So basically it tells you, yeah, look, this has been task been assigned to you by this user. This task is due. This task is overdue, and so on. So it comes with a notification capability, so you don't have to go to Teams in order to read them. You basically can do that without having to go to Teams. It will give you a notification. Also, there are a number of charts in Planner. So you go, how many tasks do we created, how many project tasks, how many on-site tasks, how many training tasks, how many tasks are not started, and so on. And then obviously the schedule, what's happening here. This is the task that is being done now. You're developing a project plan here. And if you see in the calendar what's happening, maybe milestones, maybe deadlines, and so on. So a very, very useful tool for managing work and tasks within Teams. By the way, Planner itself is an application that you can access directly, so you don't have to go through Teams. It's an app also available like Teams on mobile devices as well, tablets and so on. So if I look at the project here, I must see now, I probably need to refresh it, but we will have a project demo 1606 available for us here through the Planner directly. I can't see the, should we here somewhere? If you just give me a sec. No, it's not here for some reason. Or I'm not being really thorough in my search, so yeah, it's either or. I'm known to be or maybe it's that one. I don't know. Actually, it's not. But the point is that a planner itself is an application you can access directly by the web or by an application that you install on your Android-based or Apple-based, obviously Microsoft-based type of portable devices, and you can access it yourself. The good thing about it as an individual, if you go through a planner as an application, not through Teams, you'll have a link here called My Tasks, and these are the tasks assigned to you across all projects, across all activities. You don't have to basically go to each individual project to see what's been assigned to you. So this is across everything. You can in fact go and say, show it to me by plan. So the name of the plan. So this is basically, in my case, there are projects. So demo projects being one of them, and I can see the activities against this demo project. And as you can see, they are all overdue. Demonstration. Right. So that's the first thing that I wanted to show you, is the integration with Planner. The other thing is notes and taking notes by the different team members within the project. So you have a couple options here. You can use the out-of-box Wiki. What are these are meetings notes. So basically you can literally name a page as meeting notes, and people this is obviously accessible by all the team members at any given time. So you literally have more than one person typing into here. You can see those two people entering the text into it. So then you say, okay, well, this is the meeting on, and you put it a day. This is the 16th of 6th meeting. I mean, you don't have to date it, actually the day should be there, but anyway. And then you start putting in some contents, the actual meeting notes and who said what, and I don't know, some stuff like this. If you can also have create another page, for, I don't know, technical notes, let's say, or anything else. And again, you can have those notes inserted or collected through the Wiki tab of your teams, and therefore it's shared amongst all the project team members. However, from my perspective, I think a better way to utilize or use Teams for notes taking using OneNote. And OneNote, one of those applications that are under Microsoft 365. So as you create an Office 365 group, or in our case team, there will be a OneNote created for it. So if I go OneNote, actually they, project demo 1606 is been already is created. So if I just save it, it will add the tab to take notes into my OneNote. Into my the OneNote into my Teams. Obviously start with a blank, there's nothing. You can then create a section, you can create a page. So the same thing apply like the Wiki, but for now I'm just going to create a section called it, as we said, meetings notes. And then you can title this meeting of the 16. Again, you don't really have to the date, but you can then have notes here that this is the meeting, and we should do this and so on. But also it has the drawing capability as part of OneNote, so you can draw stuff like using pencil or highlighter, or and then start drawing in. Obviously, I'm actually now using my finger, so if you want to use a pen or a finger on your tablet device, you go, this is the arrow and this is the chart, and half of the chart this, well, this is 30%. So it's quite handy from that perspective, that the team members actually can interact like a whiteboard basically, but these notes will be stored, and then obviously you can always go back and type in text and so on. And again, you can do this. So I've created meeting notes, you can create pages, you can create sections and structure it the way. Also, OneNote is an app that is available. So if you want to access your notes across different projects and so on, you download the app and you see, or in fact go through the web and or through your desktop or laptop, and then you'll see all those notes synced and coming into your OneNote, so you can view them through the application directly. You don't have to go through the Teams interface. Right, moving on. Before I get into the reporting and so on, and the risks and issues and etc., I do want to talk about the task management using other application rather than Planner. So I don't know if you're aware of the new Microsoft project. It's called Project for the Web. So it is basically Microsoft new version of project that is not installed on a desktop. It's a slick new kind of experience type of application. So I have instead of actually creating one, which I'll do in a minute, I'll show you something that exists just to show you the capability of it. So it is again another scheduling application, not similar to Planner, but not quite, because Planner is really a work management, task management application, not a project scheduling application. And when I say scheduling, the simplest way to express that is, for example, task dependencies. So you can't create task dependencies in Planner. You can't say, well, this task is dependent on this task. I'll finish to start. When this task finishes, this one has to start. So if a task is delayed and it has a finish to start relationship with another task, then the other task will be rescheduled automatically. So these are called scheduling capabilities, and this is a very simple, basic example of its the scheduling capability. Well, there will be many of them. People who are familiar with Microsoft Project Desktop, they will know that theirs is just a tip of the iceberg in terms of the capability. You can baseline, you can set deadlines, you can assign resources on tasks and have them effort driven. You can do cost estimation, you can have material resources and so on. So all of those type of capabilities are really for scheduling applications. You won't see them in task or work management applications such as Planner. So if you still require such a application, scheduling application, you can use in Teams. You can use Project for the Web, the new version of Microsoft Project. And look, as you can see it here, there's a list of tasks and phases. You can have a summary task, and again, this is a scheduling capability. You have a summary task and then subtask, assign them to people, set up a duration, calculate percentage of completion. So quickly, if I want to create a new task, and let's call it, this is the design the solution task, and again you can do the same thing. You can assign it, you can give it a duration. This will take us 10 days, and then we can assign it to people, and let's say this is going to be done by Bill again and myself, why not. You can actually click on the task itself, see the information, do the effort, what's completed, what's remaining, hours. You can actually add dependency from here, as we said. Or if you want to add dependency, you can go to your timeline view. So there's a tab here at the top that says timeline. And let's say that this task design solution is dependent on task ABC. So you basically go click on the dot and link it like this, and that will create a dependency. You can still actually view it like a board, like Planner. So the same buckets, viewed by progress is still available for us as a view, but it's only one of the views. So the tasks that we developed in grid or managed in timelines are still available for us in a border view. So if that's your preferred application to manage your project timelines, you can insert that in in Teams. However, it is not native yet, which means you either have to do it manually or you have to have some kind of a code that will enable it for you to be done automatically. We at EPM Partners have done a script that enables it automatically, but that's not the point. The point is that natively you can't go to Teams and just insert a tab, and that tab is called Project for the Web. So I'm just going to quickly create a project plan for us. I'm going to call it a demo 16.0 or project demo 1606, and then literally that's it. And what I would do, I'll just copy that URL from the browser. So that URL that you have there, just copy it. And then I'll go to the team that I have here. And then instead of adding, that's what I mean, it's not available for us out of the box natively. So as you can see, I can add a planner here. And in that planner, I can then basically have the project board available for me, but we don't have Project for the Web coming out of the box. So what I do, I just say, well, as if I'm creating a new website or adding a new website, and just give it that URL that we copied. Oh, sorry, that's the name. So we give it a tab name. So again, this could be Project Plan 2 to just differentiate it from the first one that we created, which was using Planner. And I just put the URL here and save it. And that basically will bring that Project for the Web that we created with all the views, with all the capabilities, but inserted in Teams for us. So I can then start creating tasks, same kind of thinking that we had there, develop a project plan or the project plan. I can then say design, I can then say training, and so on. And then, I can have summary tasks. Let's say this is the, I can insert tasks here. So let's say this is the project initiation phase or whatever, project planning phase. It's called project planning phase. And it has the capability then to, make those subtasks. So I create a phase, and then I go to my timeline view. I can create dependencies. So if I go and zoom out a bit here to see my tasks, where are they? Oh, they didn't have duration. Sorry, they didn't appear. So then I can put a duration. This will take, I don't know, 10 days, and 5 days. And I can go to my timeline. I can do the dependencies from here, but if I want to do it there, I can create a dependency. You finish, you start. You finish, you start, and so on. So again, this is more, project management, schedule management than a planner. But again, you can still see it in the board view. People can still go and say by progress or by bucket. And then if this is started, it goes in progress. And that will mark it right away into my timeline as 50% complete, as you can see here. So they are all integrated. They are not operating in silos. The three views are linked together. Right, moving on. So other artifacts. Now we looked at the files, to be honest, that could be renamed to be project files, or in fact you can add another SharePoint document library and call it project files, but that will do as well. And in here you can upload your documents. So this can be, look, I'm going to just put that PowerPoint here, click open, and that basically will open, will upload the PowerPoint into the project team. I'm still in the project demo 1606. I can create a new files and store them directly to here, whether they're Word documents, Excel workbooks, and so on. And so on. So it's a full document management solution within that Teams. All the team members, in this case myself and the other two team members, will have access to it. We can set permissions if you want to, but it's a collaboration platform, and usually the files are open for everyone to use and view and edit. So that's the file collaboration. When it comes to things like risks and issues, when it comes to registers, there are a number of options. But namely, when we come to the Microsoft family, we don't want to go outside the Microsoft family. We have three options here. We have, if you don't want to do reporting across projects, which is what's called portfolio reporting, and then you might as well use just an Excel. So if you want to manage a set of risks or issues, you basically can just literally go and create a new Excel, and not only just manage it here as a file, but in fact have it as a tab. So let me show you quickly how that works. So let's say that this is the risks register, or make it even simple, issues register, that are related to the to this project, and you can make it your own template. You can actually upload an existing one, it doesn't matter. So this is the issue, maybe, I don't know, look, name, description, assigned to, things like that. So it's really simple, due date, status, very simple register here, right? And that's it. That's what I'm doing. Like, it's a very simple risk register. But then if I want to, instead of have it every time people come and click on the Excel, I can literally, let me just copy that URL or that location, copy link. I can literally add a tab here that is basically Excel. So I go show the Excel, and instead of calling it Excel, we call it, this is the issues register, right? And I can use that, Excel, and save it. So it becomes project for Excel on the web. So every time you go to the issues register, you will see, those columns. People will start putting a new issue. This is, I don't know, the document is not approved, and so on, right? And it's collaborative, so people can at the same time work on it just to see the list of the issues, status is closed, completed, and so on. You can use your own template. So that's the first option. And obviously, one of the constraints with this option is that you can't do reporting across projects, across portfolios, across different tasks, and so on. So you're limited with this Excel. It's stored locally into that team, and that's how you access it. The other option is to go with SharePoint. So if you have I'm just going to quickly through, I'm going to cheat here, actually go to an existing project. So instead of creating, instead of having to create a list or risks register, I'm just going to go and grab one. But this is the same principle. You go, look, this is a SharePoint list. I want to add it to my team. So I'll go to Teams. Oops. And again, the same idea goes again here. So I want to add a SharePoint list. And then just, point it to that URL of that list. So it's going to be a list. And I have to SharePoint side, so URL, save that. And that will basically bring the, well, in this case, the risks, not the issues list into here. And the same thing, I can start, adding a new risk, and that will, bring the risk form that I have in SharePoint, fill the risk title, category description, save it. So let's just go test on this, save that. So that added the first risk and so on. So I can go and add as many risks as I want into here. So that's kind of the risks and issues. That's the second option, using SharePoint. But the third one is actually related to what we want to talk about in terms of access to external users as well. So if you have an artifact like issues and you want it to be also accessed by external vendors, not via Teams, possibly could be by Teams, but usually by their own interfaces, you use something called PowerApps, or you can use something called PowerApps. So you can insert PowerApps for, I've given you a couple of options from risks and issues. Let's say that you need a cost calculator application, and in this cost calculator application you would engage external consultant, vendors, contractors, who would then do the cost estimation as part of your engagement with them, and you can see it in here, or the project team can see it in here as well. So what do you do? Obviously you need to configure that app called Cost Estimator, but once it's done, you can then add it to your team, Microsoft Teams. So it's called PowerApps. I'm going to add that. And it will tell me what is the app that you want to add. And obviously I'm going to choose Cost Estimator. Where are we? Cost Estimation, and I'll save that. So that will be added in a minute into another tab called Cost Estimation, and that will be then available for me to interact with from the team itself. So I'm going to start this app called Cost Estimation, and obviously there's some sample data in it already. But as you can see, this is an available app for me that I can then send to my external users. So if I click on this, basically this will actually show me the app. It's a cost estimation sheet. I can add a new categories here. So if I go look, this is a kind of a contractual, it's called bill of materials. That doesn't have to be this way. You can imagine whatever app. This is a specific app for bill of materials cost estimation. It could be anything. It could be anything that I would like. It could be a progress payment app or claims app or whatever the case might be that you want to have in your teams. So I'm just quickly going to add a new cost estimation item, rate multiplier, quantity, I don't know, and so on. So I can add items. I can remove items. I can have different kind of quantities here. And it will do the calculation for me and so on. And I can save this, I can publish it, whatever. But the idea here that whilst I'm using it internally or by the organization via Teams, I can actually launch this app to the users, external users, target them either by their email address or by their organization. There's a few ways to go about it. And they can either consume it as an app on their tablet devices or via the web. So they can literally go, and let me show you how that will look like on their device. So again, if I go up, so you can literally give them this cost estimation. Where are we? Cost estimation. Can't see it. Cost estimation. Just give me a sec. Oh, it's a different environment actually, not this environment, I believe. But let's say instead of cost estimation, there is a issues register or a payments form register or whatever. So you can actually have those apps deploy to them. Let's go with the issues register. So you can deploy this to their, as I said, email address or company name, and they will have this app either via the browser like this, just by typing in the URL, or as you can see, it is designed for a mobile device or tablet device, and they will go and use that app, install it, and they go create a new issue, and they type in the issue name, and they give you a description and attach a file, and that will go to your issues register inside your teams. Same thing for cost estimation, something for progress payment, whatever the case might be. So you can, using PowerApps, you can then extend, you can use Teams for artifacts and registers kind of management, but also you can expose it to external users to create and add content with full security control to add content and list items to those artifacts and registers. Right, so that basically in terms of the kind of collaboration, artifacts management, and so on. The last couple of things that I wanted to talk about before we open up, we will have 15 minutes, so I literally have 3 minutes to open for Q&A. So quickly, I'm going to go through the last two things. And they are, number one, reporting, but number two is automation. How do we go about setting up this for every new project without having to basically do this manual process of adding tabs and connecting things and so on. So that's important for us to see if you have many projects that you manage in your organization. Otherwise, you can always set it up this way manually. So these are the two things that I want to talk about. So reporting, to start with, reporting, it's really the best way to go about it is using Power BI. So Power BI is, again, part of the Microsoft reporting functionality. You cannot create a Power BI report dashboard on the fly through Teams. The Power BI dashboard or report has to be created. So this is obviously not a demonstration on how to create a Power BI report, but this Power BI report can then query your project risks, issues, document, tasks, who's assigned to, who's not delayed to, what's the status of this. So literally all the tabs that we created here, including Excel, by the way, if you are reporting on an individual project, can then be queried and then viewed into a report. So I've kind of prepared a quick thing here. It's called demo. So where is my project demo? Demo project, there we go. And you basically, it's for task management. It's not very flashy, but it's just to explain the concept here. So then you will use Power BI for task management. You'll see number of tasks, you see calendar, you see what are the tasks assigned to me, what are my upcoming tasks. And by the way, it is this changes depending on who's the user that is using this page within Teams. And you can have as many reports developed as you want through Power BI, and you call them here. You can have many tabs here if you want, but that's the best reporting capability that you can utilize in Teams. Not that there are no other reporting functions or available options for us, but this is just, works so well. It is integrated, and Power BI is #1 BI technology according to Gartner research. So why would you settle for something that is less integrated in eventually, or if you'd like, functionally not equivalent to Power BI. Now, the second thing is the automation of this. How do we go about automating the creation of those themes? So I'll just go back quickly to my deck and show you the integration and the automation of it. So look, one of the main challenges when you manage projects is the whole, the data being scattered everywhere. So teams will bring them together in one place, but that does not mean it is integrated into one stop shop, one source of truth, if you would like. So teams will enable this collaboration, that management into the project team working on it, but in terms of visibility and control, that is something organizations still need. So the control of those teams being created and being able to have visibility over them on an organization level. So it's great for the team members, the project team members, that I can create stuff, my own list, my issues list, my timelines. But what happens, or the challenge that you get then as an organization, is the inability to control and inability to have visibility over them, to control them and see what's happening and what the project will be delayed. Not in terms of a big brother type of visibility and control, but to manage the organization risks and investments and people time and the the people resources and the alike, and make sure that the organization more efficient. So for that, look, this is obviously the applications available for us in the portfolio of the Microsoft 365 Cloud. We did talk about Teams today as one of the applications, the planner. There's a whole heap of other applications. But one of the great things about the Microsoft 365 as an offering today is having this thing called the Power Platform that sits in the middle. We have developed a solution called PMO 365. This is specifically for project portfolio management that integrates with things like, SharePoint, Project Planner, Teams. So it's already there with all integration point, with all the templates available for people to use it, ready to go and ready to be used. But one of the technologies in that PMO 365 Power Platform, or the Microsoft Power Platform, this is going to sound like we're trying to promote PMO 365, but it's one of the solutions that are built on top of the business application by Microsoft called Power Platform, and it utilizes one of the applications within that Power Platform, something called Power Automate. And Power Automate, as in the name suggests, used to be called Flow, by the way. It can automate that whole team creation for us. So instead of us going and having to create a project team every time a project is created, we then go and automatically create a team from a template. It also obviously integrates with non-Microsoft applications. If you manage finances in SAP, Oracle, Jira applications, and so on, you can utilize that as well. So how is that done? And again, in just a couple of minutes, this is done by calling the automate interface, just quickly. And you do still need a centralized location where you create a project. This could be anything from Excel to a project portfolio management solution like PMO 365, to Jira, to Azure DevOps, to whatever, but just a centralized location. SharePoint list, even a SharePoint list. You do need a centralized locations where projects are being registered, being created. So once you have that, then you create a flow. And you go, look, whenever a flow is created, it's an automated flow. So let's say you're gonna, store, that centralized register is SharePoint or Project Online. Let's go with Project Online for example. But it could be as simple as SharePoint, by the way, or Excel for that matter, as I said, or Planner anyway. But you do need to decide where there's a single application where those projects are being registered and created. So I'm going to go with Project Online. And it's a Microsoft project portfolio management solution to Teams. So I'll go. The trigger is when a project is created. So I'll call when it's published. I'll just going to go with when a project is created, and then I'm going to create. So that will be the flow. So it just asks me what URL. Where's your Project Online? So I'll bring Project Online URL, which is this bit here. Just quickly go back to my Teams. Put the URL, and the next step is what I want to create. Now, out of the box, you can't create a team. You can create a channel within a team. So if I go team, so as you can see here, there's a create team. There is no, create a channel, not create a team by itself. If you want to create a team for each project, so before we do that, so what's the difference then? What's the difference between a channel and a team? I actually don't mind channels. So you'll have a team called projects, and then you create channels for each project you create. So that's basically how it works. You create a channel under the team called projects. Obviously, one of the constraints there is security and who can access to what and so on. But if you're happy with that, then channel is not a problem. So let's go and see how that works. So create a team channel, which should be somewhere. There we go. Create a team channel, and then obviously enter the team ID. In this case, I call it project. And then you call what's the display name. You can actually call it as a parameter. So you give it the name based on the name from this project and so on. If you do want to create it as a team, you have to use something. One of the options, use something called Microsoft Graph. And it's basically, the Microsoft Graph is a location where you basically store scripts in the cloud that interact with your Microsoft 365 solution. So basically you call a script, the script will use the Teams API to create a new project team, and then you call that API here. So instead of calling create a channel, you call that Microsoft Graph, and you go call this API, do this, create that team, copy it from the previous theme, so the tab's already been set up and will automatically create it for us. So look, that's really the areas that we thought to share with you today in terms of managing projects using teams. I will take questions now. If anyone wants to have questions, please either post it on the board in the Q&A, so we can address them one by one.